Hello, and welcome to the Gothenburg Historical Museum. This location features various items and information about our community's heritage, businesses, and much more. Narrating from Avery Solomon's Gothenburg Historical Audio Tour, I am your host and guide, Mark Peyton. Whether you are visiting the museum in the off-season or just wanting an audio guide while visiting the museum in person, we have the ultimate podcast guide for you. Let's begin on the north side of the building's main floor. To your left, you'll see numerous railroad objects ranging from conductor ticket punches to railroad lighting. Like many Nebraska towns, the Union Pacific Railroad runs adjacent to our community. Not only was one of the railroad's many immigrant workers, Olaf Bergstrom, responsible for founding our town in 1882, but the railroad has also indirectly aided our community via transportation of both goods and travelers. For more information about Gothenburg's founding, you can watch our episode, How Gothenburg Got Its Name, or talk to a museum volunteer at the front desk. With this brief history of the railroad, you may wonder what kinds of local products were made. One such answer will be off to your right, where our Lake Helen display is. Although not as large as it used to be, in its prime this lake was home to ice harvesting and cigars and bathtub factories, just to name a few. These goods would be shipped via railroad across the state. There's also an in-depth video on these facilities in another video, but for the sake of time, we're going to take a peek at our local business showcase just a couple of steps left. Whether it was hotels, cafes, or banks, Gothenburg had and still has a lively selection of local businesses. In addition to all these buildings, our community is also home to multitudes of churches. Whether it be the original Presbyterian Church started in 1903 and located downtown, or multiple new denominations. Another historic location happens to be the Pony Express station, just right outside the museum. Make sure to check it out or listen to our episode covering both the iconic mail system and our local station. While trains were a great source of transportation for early members of the burg, the Lincoln Highway, the nation's first cross-country highway, runs through Gothenburg, and it captivated drivers both local and foreign. The highway's surge of popularity would eventually decline following the construction of Interstate 80 in the late 1950s. Gothenburg's extensive town stories would not be possible without our local druggists, doctors, and educators. If we start with the pharmacy section toward the west, you'll see that there are quite a few materials and names. Over the years, Gothenburg's medicine has come from several stores, including Potter Drug Company and Bennett Drug Company, to name a few. Our current drugstore is Gothenburg Discount Pharmacy, a former furniture store located on Avenue D that remains locally operated to this day. Hospitals. If it was anywhere from the late 1920s to 1950, you could have visited Drs. Pyle and Harvey downtown. These independently operating men worked around the same time frame, but with separate businesses. Harvey practiced in his home located at 1320 Lake Avenue, which is still around to this day. Dr. Pyle, on the other hand, owned a building next door to Potter's Pharmacy and the local downtown hotel. This independent practice style would change in the 1950s because of the new development of the Gothenburg Memorial Hospital, now known as Gothenburg Health. Similar to our local hospital, our school system later developed into one unit after years of independent country schools. The present Gothenburg Public Schools was constructed in the early 2000s after the demolition of the old high school and junior high school. Nowadays, 7th through 12th graders learn under the same roof along with kindergartners through 6th graders whose classrooms are located on the opposite end. Gothenburg is known for active participation in sporting events and activities of all kinds as showcased on your left. And on your right, you'll see that another popular form of local participation is military service of all decades and wars. The school and community also recognize military service annually via the Veterans Day Assembly, an event with all grade levels, ages, and community members present to honor our local heroes. The assembly involves the high school band, the choir, school administration, military color guard, and kindergartners' thank you cards as part of the service, as well as speeches from local ex-military personnel themselves. Before we end, we'd like to explain to listeners just how important volunteerism is here. Our local Rotary and Youth Rotary, or Interact clubs, work tirelessly to help with all kinds of projects across the town, ranging from nursing home visits to cleaning up highway trash. We also host the Nebraska State Junior High Track Meet every year, which brings in thousands of people and requires hundreds of volunteers. Our local movie theater, known as the Sun Theater, utilizes our community volunteers every weekend to ensure smaller costs for its customers. Opening to the community since 1909, the theater boosts numerous local productions and family-friendly atmosphere for all. Due to its age, the theater underwent a massive renovation several years ago to upgrade its equipment and accessibility. The previous ticket booth is currently displayed inside our museum. In addition, the museum itself is 100% volunteer involvement. And that's a wrap for this episode of Avery Solomon's Gothenburg Historical Audio Tour. On behalf of our museum, volunteers, and community members, thank you so much for tuning in to learn more about the Gothenburg Historical Museum. Feel free to leave a donation near the front entrance of the museum so that the museum can continue for many years to come. Your host, Mark Peyton, is signing off for the day. But if you'd like to listen to more episodes like this, make sure to check out our YouTube or Facebook page, also titled Gothenburg Historical Audio Tour.